Hello and welcome to another HTML and CSS tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to look at how to add a linear gradient background to a div. But first I'd like to give a shout out to Miss Livingston's IST class. Thanks for watching, guys. Um, so a linear gradient is basically when we change from one color to another. So if we have a div or a box, we can have a background color of for example, a dark green that gradually changes into a light green. And it can move from left to right, or it can move from top to bottom. So we're going to change the background of a div, and we're going to use a linear gradient for that background. So I've used the code from the previous tutorial. So I have a div with a class, and it's called roundbox, and it's just got a paragraph of text in there. And it also links to an external CSS style sheet, which is called stylesheet14.css. And I have that open here. So the style for that div, using the class name of roundbox, it's already been defined here. So there's a background color, which is basically green, using a hexadecimal color code there. It's a width of 250 pixels. The text is aligned to the center, there's some padding, and there's also a rounded corner, so using the border radius property. So linear gradients are something that's new in CSS3, and it works in the latest browsers, but it may not work in some older browsers. So what you can do is, rather than taking the background color away and just adding a linear gradient for a background, you can leave a background color in that will still display on older browsers that don't support linear gradients. So if somebody is viewing your website on a really old browser that doesn't support linear gradients, at least they'll still see some sort of background color. So it's a good idea to leave that in. So to add a background, or to add a linear gradient for a background, we use the background image property. And then after the colon, we add linear hyphen gradient and open close brackets. Okay, so this linear gradient property actually takes a few values. So the first value is we specify where we want the gradient to go to. So whether we want it to go to the top, the bottom, to the left, or to the right. So where it's sort of changing color to. And then we specify the colors that we want to use. Okay, so to start with, I can say to bottom, which will basically start with one color at the top, and then it will move down to the bottom of the div and change into another color. Then we add a comma, and after that comma we can add the hexadecimal color code for the first color, which I already have a code here, which is 175E0C, and that color code is for a dark green color. So that's the first color. The second color that's going to change into is a light green, and the code for that is 37DE1C. Okay, so inside these brackets here we have two bottom, so the gradient starts at the top and moves to the bottom. Then we have a hexadecimal color code for dark green, and then it's going to change into light green using that color code there. If you're not sure what color codes to use, on my website you can go to the color picker link from the menu, and you can click in this little box here, and you can slide the mouse cursor around until you find a color that you like, and then it will give you the hexadecimal color code. Just remember to use the hashtag at the beginning of the color code when you're using it in your CSS. So there we go. We can try this out. So we can save, then go back to the HTML file and open that in the browser. And there we go. So instead of just having a green background, we have a linear gradient that starts from the top and goes to the bottom. It starts with dark green and changes to a light green. Instead of starting from the top and moving to the bottom, we could start from the bottom and move to the top. So we can change this value to top, save and refresh, and now the gradient has sort of flipped around. We could also change that to right, Save, refresh. Okay, and we could change it to left. Okay, so that just shows some of the ways, some of the directions that a linear gradient can follow. Okay, so there's a few other things that we can do. We can also add more colors to this. So I have another color that I can add, which is another, instead of a medium green, so we've got dark green and we've got light green. So I can add a comma and then add another value in the middle here. So I can add hashtag 29A615, which is a medium green. So I can then open that in the browser again. And oops, it was already open. And now it's a dark green, a medium green, and a light green. It's a little bit hard to see that. It hasn't actually changed a lot, but instead of using a medium green, maybe we can use a completely different color. So I can use a code for yellow. Save and refresh. Okay, and now we have dark green, yellow, and then light green. Okay, so we can use 3 colors, we can use 4, we can use a heap of different colors in there for our linear gradient. Okay, so one other thing that I'd like to show you is that you can add percentage values for your colors. So if you want one color to take up more room in a div than the other colors, then you can add a percentage value. So if I want the dark green to take up, say, 60% of this div, then I can add this percentage value of 60% there, save and refresh, and now the dark green is taking up 60% of the div, and then we have it fading to yellow and light green. And we could also add percentage values to those colors as well. So basically we've looked at how to create a gradient, how to add more colors to the gradient, how to change the direction of the gradient, and also how to specify how much room each color takes up on the gradient. All right, so go ahead and apply some gradients to the background of your divs, and make sure that you also include a regular background color so that older browsers that don't support the linear gradient from CSS3 will still be able to display some sort of colorful background. Okay, thanks for watching.